Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Northside Plow with Pop.1 Podcast. Here, my boy Alexander Valito.
Welcome.
My boy Brian Ha.
Hello.
We're here for another episode. We're still doing the thing, man.
Isn't that crazy?
It feels good. Episode 14.
Yeah.
That's a lot of episodes.
It's a whole lot of episodes.
We've been really going hard. We got a few things to talk about. Let's see. We got New York Comic Con going on right now. A lot of stuff with One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just want to talk about a lot of stuff with the TikTok.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So we got a pretty good show today. And we hope you guys are going to enjoy this one as you've enjoyed everyone else. Shout out to all the fans in the comments saying how much they love it. And, you know, those are the ultimate rewards, I guess. You know what I mean? You got strangers saying, hey, we love you guys. It feels good. But let's hope that we can give them another good show today.
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. All right, guys, before we get started, let's talk about our sponsors over at Dueling Guard. You can check the link down below, 15% off. We also have a link for Anchor Goods.
Anchor Goods.
Leader cases.
Anchor Goods.
Love them, man. Those are some good leader cases.
Love them.
Everybody's always asking about them. So if you want one, go down to the description. But yeah, shout out to our sponsors. Okay, guys, we have to give out an apology.
Yes. So for the entirety of this podcast, we have told everyone to email us at pop1podcastsubmissions@gmail.com. However, we made the mistake, and we didn't catch it until the last episode, that the way it was spelled in the description, it was spelled Pop.1, spelled out O-N-E. It's Pop, the number one, podcast submissions @gmail.com. Moving forward, that's been fixed. So if you've sent us an email in the past and we haven't read it and you felt any type of way about that, we're very sorry about that. Please copy and paste that sent email, resend it to us, and we promise you we'll read it on the next episode.
We're ready for the emails. Like I said, once we get a good amount of emails, I'm going to do a drawing, give away some Dueling Guard stuff, Anchor Goods, you know, stuff like that, and hook the fans up with what they want. And that's some Dueling Guard and Anchor Goods stuff. We'll throw a Pop.1 t-shirt in there or something like that. You know?
Yeah, we'll announce that in the near future.
Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, it's just I do feel good that we do have something that the community can reach out to us, because it's kind of hard on YouTube. We got people that are just here for YouTube from YouTube, and it's kind of hard to get in contact with channel owners and stuff like that on YouTube besides the comments. So we appreciate that, and we'll be reading these emails off as soon as they come in, man. That's really what it is. All right, so right now we have New York Comic Con. I think today's the last day out there.
Yeah.
And every year, New York Comic Con's been a really big thing, with news of all the different stuff, with comics, with the anime, with manga, and trading cards.
All things nerd culture.
And we talk about trading cards here a little bit, you know what I mean? So
a lot of it.
Yeah, it's something that I thought we could bring up. I thought it was really cool how Yu-Gi-Oh did like a learn to play deal. I think they do these every year, but they got really into it this year. They had one of the commentators from like the YCSs and stuff. He was actually cosplaying as Seto Kaiba out there, and I think it was to kind of promote the redrop. Now, when I talk about this is a redrop of the Kaiba boxes, the Legendary Collection Kaiba boxes. And when they first came out, they were this nice cardboard box, you know, hard box with one of those hard play mats. I guess they're cardboard play mats or whatever.
Yeah, cardboard
the
play mats.
The foldable ones.
Yeah.
And they came with like different rarities for Kaiba's deck, you know, Blue Eyes, Lord of D, you know, all these cool cards. And they did a reprint of it. But the reprint is not the same thing. It's actually a little baby fragile box compared to what the other one was. And they released this week, and there was a lot of things online about how the Kaiba Legendary Collection box is going for $150 on TCG Player. And, you know, you look at that, and I'm thinking, why? You know, why? So I do a little bit of research, and I'm like, why is this new thing, all this? Because we've talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! And the scalping issues and everything like that. is Yu-Gi-Oh boosting up in price, or are we about to see like a mass like pickup of all Yu-Gi-Oh products? So I go on there and I'm like, well, no, it's not the new one. It's the old one that's actually reselling for that much money. I think
Now,
a lot of people are confused, though.
Is it the first edition, or does that include the reprints? Because I remember a year ago, I went to a local Walmart when I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I saw the reprint of the legendary Kaiba boxes, and I bought 2 at retail for like $30 each.
I don't think that they're like quote unquote like first edition reprints or anything like that. I don't think there's anything that says like from the cards that they're reprints. You know what I mean? But the new boxes, they don't have as much. You know, I think they're just cards. You know what I'm saying? And the other one has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Well, I think people are getting confused with the older one having a price tag on it and the new ones. So they're going to Walmart, they're buying all these new ones, and they're listing them as this item because they're confused. They don't know what's going on. There's not really a depiction on what's the difference. And they're selling them for $100. I think people are going to be on TCG Player buying these things, thinking they're getting the first edition ones, quote unquote, and they're going to be getting these new ones that drop at Walmart and be severely disappointed, have a bunch of returns and refunds and all this stuff. I think people just need to understand that there are 2 versions of this product. Konami's always had an issue with labeling their stuff, you know, with the legacy Legend of Blue Eyes packs, you know, when they've reprinted those hundreds of times, but we had the legacy editions that had the 25th anniversary stamp on them. Well, they're still labeled the same thing as the Legend of Blue Eyes packs. If you pull a Blue Eyes out of one of those packs, it is the same number and everything besides the first edition stamp as the original Legend of Blue Eyes. So it's one of those things to where Konami might need to start getting a little bit better at labeling their products.
Yeah.
As far as like new products and stuff, especially if they're doing reprints, because we do know that first edition's always going to be more. But in this situation, I don't think that there is like a first edition stamp, and I could be wrong on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if you are wrong on that.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like a legit just the same cards that were in this special edition box.
Yeah.
But the box and the packaging and some of the stuff that is included is completely different from the first run.
Yeah, I'm also certain too that this won't last long. If you're there's scalpers out there. If you're trying to scalp into Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not going to be effective.
Please don't scalp into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
actually, for the scalpers, go ahead.
No. We do not condone scalping in any way, shape, or form.
No, we don't, man.
But speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, there's been a lot of negativity surrounding it, and we've gotten some feedback too from the community saying, "Man, y'all talk real negative about Yu-Gi-Oh."
Well, it's like, look, man. The thing with Yu-Gi-Oh, and all 3 of us have had a big part of our lives have been resolved around Yu-Gi-Oh, and the reason we harp down on it, it's like a tough love type of thing, because I think ultimately we all want it to be good again.
Yeah.
We all want Konami to kind of listen to the players, and maybe we can be the voice to them, or maybe other people like us can be the voice to them, and kind of show the frustration from an actual player base and actual collectors and actual stuff like this, that you guys got some stuff you need to fix.
I think the biggest thing that we kind of preach, because we don't just talk about One Piece, we don't just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, we do touch on all the different card games. Yes, the main card game that we talk about is One Piece, and I would say the second card game we talk about is Yu-Gi-Oh, which I wouldn't be surprised if that changes in the near future.
Yeah.
But if you're a viewer of this podcast and you do play specifically Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe you should try a different card game. I'm not saying it has to be One Piece.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different games out there. Union Arena and Gundam. I could go down the list of all the Bandai games. There's Pokemon. There's Magic. There's the new Fortnite game. What's it called?
It was a League of Legends game, the Riftbound.
Oh, that's what I meant. League of Legends games, Riftbound.
Fortnite game. I'm like, yo, where?
I mean, you never know with how card games.
Yeah, no.
And you even got people ripping SpongeBob packs and Oh,
Actually,
The
I was
SpongeBob
kinda,
tops,
I ain't
yeah.
gonna lie. I was kind of looking for those the other day, dude, because obviously there's nothing on the shelves
there's nothing
that I would buy
Those
personally.
SpongeBob packs have been scalped.
Yeah, man.
But if you play these games and you find yourself that you're just not having fun, it's okay to try other card games.
Yeah.
And I understand what makes it hard is the community that you've built. You have all these different friends, and it's like, man, I'm getting rid of these friends to go play this other card game. And I can understand how it feels that way. And you're going to want to try to get them to play this other card game. They don't want to play that card game. But I promise you, you need to have fun, and you can make more friends, and you can still hang with these friends outside of your specific card game. I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh locals on Thursday for the first time in over a month. You know, we've been on the grind for nationals. We've been
How
on the
was
grind.
that?
The card game aspect itself, I've had no fun at. It was great seeing people I haven't seen in a month. It was. That was the only part of it that I enjoyed. And I'm going to go again to see these people because they're my
Yeah.
friends. I enjoy spending time with them. But as far as actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh, I just don't want to do that.
I think the thing, like with trying to get, and we'll talk about Yu-Gi-Oh players specifically, trying to get them into another game, it's hard.
Yeah.
There was a time that all three of us said we'll never do nothing else. We look kind of looking down on other card games because the complexity of Yu-Gi-Oh and being able to construct a deck and actually play the deck competitively is a road. It's a journey.
It's appealing.
Yeah.
It is. It really is the chess of card games. There is no other card game that plays like it. Being able to build a deck that's perfect or as mathematically probable as possible, you can really only express that in Yu-Gi-Oh. You can't express that. Like in One Piece, it's pretty soft. You play a Zoro deck, you have 3 to 4 tech cards.
The Yu-Gi-Oh player in me calls it a baby game.
Yeah.
We call all these games, like the Pokemons, the One Piece, the majority of the Bandai games, compared to the Yu-Gi-Oh, we would always call these like the baby games.
Right.
Well, you know, it's so hard to get a Yu-Gi-Oh player to try another game.
Yeah.
Because they're so invested in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right.
And
but
the
issue too is the Yu-Gi-Oh player is getting older.
Yeah.
Because right off the bat, Yu-Gi-Oh has a horrible entry point. It does not have a great entry point. It's very complicated. Yes, they've made the game simpler, but what happens is the best players in the games, they discover what floodgates, and that gate keeps a lot of these players out. Now that a lot of these players are older and they're trying other card games, they're realizing that, hey, One Piece doesn't take as much brain power as Yu-Gi-Oh. We had a TikTok comment that went very viral say Zoro is for dads with families.
Yeah, we did.
And I got to say, you know, we went to that store championship a few weeks ago, and after 7 rounds, I didn't feel exhausted.
Yeah.
And some of those rounds, you know, went back to back to back. I was fine. I didn't feel mentally exhausted. In 7 rounds, I felt like I did after 2 rounds of a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. Genuinely.
Yeah. So, you know, I've tried personally to get up. I know a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Yeah.
Okay. I've tried personally to get them to try One Piece. And the thing about it is it goes to one thing. Or it goes to 2 things. First of all, it's not that fun. You know, they haven't really looked at it. They look at it, but they haven't really like looked into it to say, oh, it's nothing that I'm into. I don't like One Piece or, you know, blah, 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 blah. Even the biggest One Piece fans in Yu-Gi-Oh, some of them still don't pick it up because it goes to the second part on how invested they are into Yu-Gi-Oh. Years and years. You got people that have been playing since almost day one of Yu-Gi-Oh, since they were in like elementary school, still playing Yu-Gi-Oh. It's something they don't want to leave. It's something they don't want to feel like that they wasted their time with. Because I'm going to tell you now, dude, with me playing One Piece as long as I have now, what are we going on 3 years now? It makes me like wonder, what was I doing the whole time?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why wasn't I venturing off and trying other things? Now, I was one of the few that tried Pokemon, and ultimately I tried One Piece, and that's why I'm here where I'm at now. Because you look at how companies like the Pokemon Company and how Bandai and how they listen to their players. It was the main thing. With me and the whole longevity of Pop.1, we were going on 3 years of nothing but Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was like, they're going to fix it, man. Everything's going to go back to normal. The ban list is coming out. It's going to go, dude, I have lived through at least 15 to 20 ban lists. And every single time, I mean, there's been 1 or 2 times where we're just like, this is great. but it ultimately doesn't end up being great.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those
Power
things to
creep
where
changes
they have
everything.
a formula,
Yeah.
and it's get consumers happy, ban list, then 3 weeks after the ban list, everybody's like, well, it's not the best we saw. Get them angry and put out subpar product, and then wait for the next ban list. And then hopefully when that ban list comes out, we are able to heal the game that we love. It just hasn't ever been healed, you know?
It took you a while to get into One Piece, right? I've heard that story. What was it that finally got you into One Piece?
Well, during COVID, I didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh or One Piece or anything, or like any kind of card game, just because there was nothing, like I wasn't interested in doing the remote duels or remote tournaments or anything. And I've been a Yu-Gi boomer. I've been playing since like, the inception of the game. I remember like buying Legend of Blue Eyes packs. I remember buying Metal Raider packs and all that stuff. So I've been playing the game since it basically just came out. And the reason why it took me a little bit to get into One Piece was because for the majority of it, I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And I loved the game, and kind of like hitting every point y'all said. But I think the reason why also was because I was back when I was growing up, there was only 3 major card games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering. Was too young for Magic, was around the age for Pokemon, but I collected the Pokemon cards, but I never got into it. And then my whole local scene changed from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh, and then like that's where I kind of just fell in love with Yu-Gi-Oh, and I like the complexity of it. And I thought I was really good at Yu-Gi-Oh, or decent at Yu-Gi-Oh at least. And what got me into One Piece was I think I just had enough friends that wanted to play it, and that asked me to play it, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And when I started playing it, I was like, this is so much more fun than I ever imagined. And I didn't realize the complexity of it. But like, I know a lot of people are like, they're like, oh, like Yu-Gi-Oh's like, Edison format, it's like very interactive, blah, blah, blah. But like, there is a line, and it's not a straight line. And it's like the manga and the anime, it diverts, and you can find a winning path if you just follow that line in One Piece. And that's what makes me love it. And it's basically doing the same thing in Yu-Gi-Oh. You're doing a whole combo. Like the only difference is that it takes your combo takes like a 5, 6, 7 turns to find that winning line. Whereas in Yu-Gi-Oh, you just do that one combo line on your turn 1 or turn 2 or whatever, and then you just ask your opponent to break it,
Yeah.
But in One Piece, like it'll take you like 5 turns to get to that line, and that's what I love about it. Like it's not like in Pokemon either. In Pokemon where you can cheese out a win if your opponent only has one active Pokemon, they're like, let me just dunk on you,
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't like about Pokemon either. It was just like the thing with One Piece is like you can kind of see the end of the tunnel, but it can go either way. The thing with Pokemon is like you can see the end of the tunnel like 3 turns ahead, just by being good at math, And then with Yu-Gi-Oh, you just never know what's going to happen. It's either you're going to have a good game, or your opponent's going to kill you before your next turn. Like,
with One Piece, you're never truly out of it.
No, you're not.
Never.
You can pull. There has been some real heart of the cards situations in One Piece, and it feels good. It feels like a legit, like you were sitting there, especially a really good game in One Piece. You feel accomplished. And honestly, even if you lose that game, you're like, man, that was such a good game. That's crazy.
The amount of times my opponent has 1 life left and I have no cards in hand, and all I need to see is Luffy will be king, and I draw it. That's true hard the cards.
That's really what it is.
Like also in One Piece, like I've had really close games where like it's down to like 1K counter difference,
Yeah.
And like that never happens in like tell me another game where like you have to sit there and like sweat it out with your opponent and like do the math correctly and try to beat them with 1K counter like difference. That's just, to me, that's like high level skill playing thinking, and I it's math, probably statistics and math and stuff, but like you do the same thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, you can definitely apply those skills from Yu-Gi-Oh into One Piece very, very well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've said this 100 times. Like, if you can play Yu-Gi-Oh, you can play One Piece. I think the thing with Konami now is like, let's go back to the older formats, what they did with that, and how they were just basically trying to destroy it. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe they'll fix that eventually. They'll listen to the community. And then you go to modern, and you have all these pro players making these YouTube videos, doing all this stuff, talking about how there's an issue in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And
then these people sell spreadsheets on how to do these combo ones.
Yeah, that too, But then you look at Konami, you're like, okay, maybe they'll listen to everybody. No, they drop Genesis, okay? And me being around Konami for this long, I feel like this is basically saying, here's your answer. This is what we give you. If you don't like Modern and you don't like how we're running Time Wizard, here's another format where you can play every card in the game you want, according to the rules, the point system and all that stuff, which is a great idea. Don't get me wrong. But I have a fear that they're going to really put a lot of their time in Genesis, and all the comments and negative comments that they got from the previous decisions that they made is going to go under the rug, because they're going to be focusing on Genesis. That's going to be their answer. They're going to say, hey, look, if you don't like it, here's another option.
Yeah.
Sit down and play.
But how long until they ruin Genesis format?
Is it I don't there's nothing to ruin. If you're going to get a ban list like every other week because somebody has figured out how to exploit your point system that literally came out of nowhere. I mean, a lot of people are saying that it's constructed very well. A lot of people are saying it's just, me personally, I think that they just grabbed it out of nowhere and just started putting points on.
You can tell with some of the cards that they have on there that the points are that the R&D department did put some work into this,
which is good. But before it even dropped, we had a ban. I don't know what they're calling it, but
a repoint.
Yeah, correction or whatever. I think that's what they're calling it, point correction.
Yeah, but I mean that was inevitable because your R&D department is, we don't know obviously, but let's just call it 20, 30 people, right? Yeah. And you have these people testing it. There's 20, 30 minds. Then you release this format to the entire community. Someone in the community is going to find something that you hadn't thought of.
We know this, and that was the fun out of it. When new cards drop, you figure out how to make the most toxic pile of whatever, to get it going. And that was one of the fun parts of it. Yu-Gi-Oh is a very competitive game, you know what I mean? And the goal of a game is to win, right?
Yeah,
People figure out to do things to win.
But it is nice playing One Piece, going to an event that even though I'm not winning, I'm still having fun.
Yes, great community. And it goes back to what we were talking about, how people think we harp too much on Yu-Gi-Oh. We come from a great community of people.
Yu-Gi-Oh had a fantastic community. It had a bad rap. And people are like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh players smell this, that, and the third. I mean, look, let's just keep it 100. There are going to be people who are unhygienic in these hobbies.
All of them,
right?
Every one of them.
Are different TCGs more abundant than others? There's probably some statistics to that, but at the end of the day, don't let that deter you from playing these games.
And not only that, try other things too, man.
Yes.
And Bandai makes it a good thing to put out these structure decks and stuff like that, and give players or new people that just want to look at the game the option to sit down and play these games. Take advantage of it. I'm sure if there is a One Piece locals in your area and you're a Yu-Gi-Oh player or Lorcana or any other game, and there's a One Piece locals or another card game locals, go talk to those people. If you are interested in trying to just step away or just trying to try something new, go talk to them.
Well, I also think GameStop is doing those learn to play sessions at participating GameStops.
For Pokemon?
For One Piece.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With the learn to play decks?
With learn to play decks. I think it's happening on October 25th. So check your local GameStop if they're on that list.
Yeah,
they're usually one of the prestigious ones.
Yeah.
The ones that are a little bit bigger. They have like the learn to play. So I would check that out for sure. And then you get the promo, the Luffy or the Zoro promo.
I'm sad I missed out on that.
Yeah, same.
Hurts. But it is what it is. Yeah, it's just one of those things that if you want to try something, go try it. If not, stay with what you're doing. But, we have opinions here at Pop.1 Podcast, and that's going to always be what it is. We are going to always talk about how we feel about it. We're not just some outsiders looking in. Trust me, we've been through the whole hooped and holla of everything having to do with Konami.
We're just three dudes who are talking about the different card games and what we see, right?
Definitely.
And what we see is a lot of what you see.
Yeah, I mean, we are legitly calling it as we see it, man.
Yeah,
and that's all it is. Going back to New York Comic Con though, they did have some product out there.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure who it was ran by. I would assume it's Bandai, but the setup looked just like the one they had at Bandai Card Fest.
Okay,
and I mean, they had some sold out stuff. OP09 popular products and stuff, and they're giving out the Luffy Vanilla promo for New York Comic Con, which is really cool. A sick foil, just like one of the reflective foils.
Yeah.
and what was it? It seems like it ran really well. Like, you know, hopefully,
like as far as getting product and stuff like that.
Yeah, in terms of getting product. I mean, but I know New York Comic Con isn't like a One Piece tournament.
Right.
And
so,
it's not like,
yeah, you know, so it might be easier to get. Now, New York Comic Con is one of the hardest places to get their exclusive items ever.
Yeah.
From Funko Pops, comics, all types of stuff. But the only way you can get these things are at the convention itself. And yeah, you're right. So it probably isn't like the same as having like a full Bandai Card Fest where everybody there is for the card games. And that's why it's hard to get. But, you know, it is nice to see that they somewhat ran smoothly over the weekend at New York Comic Con and got it going, man. And you got to give Bandai a little round of applause. Konami as well. They did a good job out there. It's just the Kaiba box situation. I hope that they kind of
rectify that.
I mean, it's not really their problem, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? They're just selling their product. But it is it sucks for the community because a lot of people probably think that they're going to Walmart and buying all these little Kaiba boxes thinking that they're about to flip them for $150+. But it is what it is. But back to One Piece out at New York Comic Con, we got the Elbaf. They basically showed us what the Straw Hats look like in Elbaf for the anime, so we get a nice color spread of that. And I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh no, it was a great color spread.
Good, yeah.
No, we're looking forward to it. I'm glad that they revealed that because they look really good based off of what I've seen so far. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to this next part of the anime.
Yeah, me too, man. Because I've been reading it. And,
I'm ready to catch up to it.
Yeah, you're almost there.
I'm in Wano finally.
You're in Wano. That was peak.
That was one of the best arcs.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And
you know, we got other events going on. Us here, New Orleans.
Yeah, if you are in New Orleans, November 1st, we'll be out there for the regional, getting a lot of content. Also competing.
What a weird date for them to do it. They do these events weird dates. So you hear November 1st, you're like, oh, November 1st. But what's before November 1st?
Halloween night, baby.
Exactly. So, and you have a lot of parents that play this game.
I think, at Card Fest, we had a lot of parents saying that they're not going to be able to make it because of Halloween. Well, luckily it's so close to us that, you know, I'm going to do
we're going to be fine. Like Halloween day, you're going to go pre-register and then Halloween
night. Oh, by the way,
kids.
if you already have a spot for that regional, check your email. They're doing a discounts on hotel rooms out there where it's going on. So don't miss out on that because especially if you're traveling, it gets expensive in New Orleans.
But then the next Bandai Fest is Valentine's Day.
Yes, and that was an issue on my end because that is me and my wife's 12-year anniversary of being together. So I have convinced her to join us in Las Vegas, and we're gonna see how that goes.
We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time on that. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get back to it. And read off an email from one of our viewers.
We got one.
We got one, baby. We'll see you guys in a minute.
We interrupt this episode to talk about our sponsor, Anchor Goods. Protect your leader in style with our Anchor Goods leader loaders. They're sized to fit, tournament legal, and fit perfectly in your deck box. All engineered by players for players. Thank you, Anchor Goods, for sponsoring the Pop.1 podcast. Click the link below and get yours today. How hard is that?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? We're going to interrupt this episode and tell you about our sponsors. Yes, our sponsors over at Dueling Guard. These guys definitely have everything you need for your TCG journey. Go ahead and head on down to duelingguard.com. Check out their deck boxes, their playmats, their binders, their anime art cards. They have it all, and I swear I love this stuff. I back it all the way. I personally use binders and deck boxes from Dueling Guards for all of my TCG play. When I'm going to bigger tournaments, or even if I'm going to smaller tournaments, they have everything I need to be comfortable in my competitive scene. I love the size of their deck boxes. They fit perfectly in my book bag without any type of clutter. You know what I mean? When you have them big deck boxes and it's just so cluttery in your book bag, it makes your book bag kind of get deformed after a little while. These are great for that because they're a nice slim fit. They also have so many different sizes of deck boxes. So if you don't like the size of one of their deck boxes, I'm sure they'll have something to fit your certain criteria whenever you're going to these big events. Their playmats are super high quality. I really, really enjoy playing on them. And their binders are peak. They're side loading, they zip up. They're just really good binders all in all, and they fit perfectly in your book bag. They also have different accessories like playmat holders and different bags that you can take out. I'm telling you now, you guys are definitely going to want to support Dueling Guard, man. They are very awesome in what they do. So go to duelingguard.com, use code Pop.1 at checkout. You guys get a discount. It helps us out a lot. We really enjoy having Dueling Guard around, and we thank them so much for what they do for the community and for Pop.1 podcast. All right, let's get back to the show.
And welcome back. So at the beginning of this episode, we talked about how we were looking for emails from people and we had the wrong email typed in. However, on the last episode, we had the right email typed in and we actually got one from someone. So this one reads, when will Pokemon be available and affordable again? It's driving me crazy. I can't believe how long it's been. I just want to rip some packs. And this is actually a fellow YouTuber who does TCG content. Her YouTube channel name is Kartgal with a K, Kartgal. So if you're watching this, go ahead and check out her content. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of truth to that, right? Because Pokemon Gundam 2 is at an all-time high for scalping.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's really bad.
It really is, man. And you know, it goes back to a video that we just dropped on TikTok not too long ago, talking about using the term scalper correctly. Mm-hmm. You know, it's becoming a thing in the trading card community to where it's becoming a very strong term, you know, and we've talked about it here on the, if you guys can go check it out on the last episode here in the studio, where we were talking about if the term is being used correctly for scalpers. Now, shout out to her for the email, and trust me, I want to be back in the same boat ripping packs again too. It does hurt because I enjoy ripping packs with the family and everything. But going back to that, you know, we had a lot of people very vocal on how they felt about specifically that video. Yeah. You know, because it goes back to basically we were talking about, okay, usually 2 or 3 years ago, you saw a line outside of GameStop or a line outside of Target or anything and be like, oh, those are the scalpers. You know, the scalpers are going there to buy everything up, blah, blah, blah. And there would be a few that were just there to like rip packs and stuff like that. But, you know, nowadays, that's pretty much the only way people can get product at retail. Well, you know, we had a lot of harsh comments in the TikTok, and people were kind of like, you know, not attacking me, I guess, but like saying that, you know, this guy's probably a scalper, blah, blah, blah. Not watching the whole video because we kind of explained where we were coming from. But like, this guy's a scalper, or, you know, we had some crazy comments saying like, if you don't play the game of the packs that you're buying, then you're a scalper and stuff.
In
you know?
short, if you're a collector.
Right. And, you know, I understand that a lot of it might be like younger teenagers and stuff, and they're just like kind of going off what they've heard and stuff like that. And that's understandable. You know what I mean? Because like stuff like this can be taught in an incorrect way, and people think that they know what they're talking about, but they don't. And so it's like one of those things to where, you know, you can't call everybody a scalper because they're buying Pokemon packs. I mean, that's just the end of the story.
The overwhelming majority of those comments said that if you're buying sealed product specifically, if you're buying sealed product with the intention of selling that sealed product at a higher price, then that makes you a scalper.
Well, see, then it kills the idea of a collector's base at the end of the day. I think all of us here have a little sealed collection, you know what I mean? And we're not holding it for super crazy retirement money at the end of the day, but I have a little display here of stuff that I like to look at and stuff like that. You guys see that we have all these displays and stuff. And
but that's collecting. That's not holding with the intention of selling.
Now, we had some comments saying, if you're a sealed collector, that's one thing. But if you're going there to buy all the stuff and then instantly put it on eBay in your car and stuff like that to get a quick flip, that is what a scalper is. That is what it is scalping. If you're going home and you know that this pack that you're about to go buy for $5 sells on eBay for $15, and you go and you buy all of that product and then put it on eBay to make your profit, that is called scalping. The word scalping has been around forever before trading card games. This is with concert tickets, sports, you know, events, New York Comic Con, going and getting all the special edition comic books and reselling them. This has been around for a while, and I just kind of, wanted to let people know that I came from a scalping situation back when we started Pop.1 podcast in 2020.
Before we even got involved.
Yeah, before I even knew you guys, to tell you the truth, I started out with somebody else. We were both in dark times during the COVID time. I left a group of friends, made new friends, did stuff like that. Just a lot of stuff going on in life. And there was one day where me and him were just sitting in this studio and saying, what is something that we can do to better our lives? We were broke, nothing going on. Very, very dark place, you know what I mean? And we both liked anime, and we both liked Pokemon and stuff like that. And at that time, the Logan Paul stuff was going on, and it was just like you're watching this spike happen. Well, down here we didn't have that much of a card craze going on so we were going to Walmart and we were just buying the stuff. We would open some packs here and there, but we were basically going there and selling it.
Yeah.
And it was a way for us to make some money. Fast forwarding, a shop was opened up. We opened a shop, we did all that, and ultimately it didn't work out for us, so the shop got closed down.
Yeah.
And but the process,
but things with y'all, with the shop situation, you were getting away from that whole scalper thing. And to confirm, we here at Pop.1 Podcast, we don't rip and ship. We don't sell seal product
anymore.
We have affiliate. Yeah, we don't anymore. That is before me
Lost
and Brian
media.
got onto this brand, and that is Preston's old life. Just to confirm that.
So what we did, when the shop shut down, before the shop shut down, I met all these players.
Yeah.
I met actual players. I actually met people that have been doing this way longer than me. And it was something it sparked something in my head that was very interesting. Back then, you could not get me to play a card game. It was like the most taboo thing in my life. I would never do it. There's no way you're going to get me to play this game. And then a few locals happens at the shop, and we actually have players coming, and they're explaining to us why certain cards meet a certain price because of playability and stuff. So I'm learning a whole new market outside of, the scalping market. And
the players market.
Ultimately ended up sleeving up a deck, sitting down at a locals, and the rest is history on that aspect. But, when the shop closed down, we were, I was ripping a lot of packs on Twitch and doing a lot of stuff like that. Twitch.tv/Pop1Pod. Hey, dude, it took me a while to get that one down, but we were really into the streaming and doing the rip and ships and stuff like that. But it just got to the point to where it was like, I wanted to play. You know what I mean? I really wanted to play. And my partner at the time wasn't on the same boat. He was like, you're doing too much, you're playing too much, blah, blah, blah. We got to do this and everything. And mind you, I was not the reason that the shop closed down. It was a whole nother whatever.
That's a video for a different day.
We can, if you guys want more detail on that part. But anyways, ultimately, he left Pop.1 Podcast, and I left the shop, and we went our separate ways. And I decided that Pop.1 Podcast is going to be a safe space for collectors and players to coexist, right? If you go on our Discord server, we got people that don't play any card games, and we got some of the biggest competitors in the game all in the same space. And that's been the goal for me the whole time. And so what I did was I started playing competitively. I created a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh team consisting of some of the greatest friends that I still have to this day, including Mr. Alexander Valito himself.
That's me.
And he played for me for 2 years. We had other people that really grinded it out for Pop.1 Podcast, and ultimately that was the reason Pop.1 generated a name. But the whole thing with it was, okay, we're not making money from selling packs and stuff like that anymore, but we were doing it with the team stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it worked out good, but ultimately the team, don't ever make a sponsored team. Like that's the ultimate advice after that, because it's too much to keep up with. And especially if you're not a shop. That was the one thing I wasn't
If you're
a
a
shop.
shop, there is reasons behind why you could do that.
Yeah, so we did that for a long time, and but I was the guy, before the shop opened and everything. I was the guy getting up at 5 a.m., going to camp out Walmarts and stuff. I became friends with a lot of these guys that were going to camp out the Walmarts and stuff. They're good guys. It's just they found a way to make some extra money, and they did it. But now that the trading card world is what it is now, it does affect players, and it does affect how things are ran. We also had a comment on that TikTok to where I was saying, Pokemon players really aren't hurting that bad as far as playability. Yes, they can't have the super crazy maxed out decks or whatever, but Pokemon has constructed their game enough to where you can quote unquote play with the bulk. You can compete with the bulk and stuff. So I haven't really been a fan of that argument the whole time, how it just affects the players so much that they can't play the game, because ultimately it's just not true, But I do understand with people like the person that emailed us, or me personally, when my daughter and my wife want to open up packs, there was a time where we could just load up in the car, let's go to Target and go pick up a few. You can't do that anymore. And that affects the collectors. It affects the players and the collectors now. The scalpers have gone to a point now to where if it's got the word Pokemon on it, it has value. And there's no stopping them. You have Target that is really buckled down on the limiting stuff like that, but places like Walmart, they don't care, you know what I mean? And you have some stores like Books A Million or Barnes and Noble and stuff like that, to where they're trying to do a limit, but it's really the discretion of the cashier at the time, And today, for example, I went to the Family Dollar down the road to get some trash bags, and sometimes they'll have Pokemon, so I'm like, hey, you guys got any Pokemon in the back? And the lady was like, I got 4 left. I had a dude cuss me out because I wouldn't let him buy these last 4 packs when he just bought 85% of the product here. And she was explaining to me how her daughter is a collector and stuff like that, and how she can't find packs and everything. And it's just it's a sad situation, because it's kind of taken a lot of this stuff away from the next generation. Yeah. And the thing about Pokemon is the way that it's constructed to be forever, because every generation picks it up. It hasn't lacked in a generation in years. You know what I mean? Like if you ask your average 7 to 8 year old now if they know who Pikachu is, they all know who Pikachu is. Mission success, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a monopoly that the Pokemon company has with their cards, that they could print out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and we've seen that with the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, and the stuff will rot on the shelves, and then 6 months later, 7 months later, we're going back into the same situation because a celebrity has said they like Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
And it's not anybody's fault. It's not necessarily, and this is a hot take, it's not necessarily the rip and shippers' faults. It's not the scalpers' faults. It's not anything like that. It's just the popularity of a card that not only brings joy to a player that goes and competes in these things, and the nostalgia factor that a husband wants to share with his wife and daughter. It's just that the fact that it's just a popular thing, and they could print it all to oblivion, but it's not going to change anything.
Well, they can't exactly print it to oblivion, and I do think that's part of the problem.
That's what Konami did, and it destroyed the collector's market.
It destroyed. So you're talking about like reprints, right? Like the card specifics. I'm talking about like sealed product specifics. Yeah. So when you look at a company like the Pokemon Company, you kind of have to think out of it. And you shouldn't have to, but the reality is you got to think of it as if you're in a board of executives, right? Yeah. You have growth year over year, and the magic number for a lot of these companies is 10%. Yeah. So why would Pokemon print 50% increase in product just for it to burst the next year or two?
Why exactly?
They wouldn't.
But the thing about what you're talking business now.
Yes.
And nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Nobody, especially in those comments, they did not want to hear nothing about profit, product, nothing. If you don't play the card game and you're buying the cards, you're a scalper. That's got to stop, dude. Like that's really like.
But the sad reality is these card games are business. The Pokemon Company, Bandai, They are a company. Unfortunately, now we're at the point where the distributors are a company. And there is truth to where distributors are charging more to sell to these shops and, quite frankly, to these scalpers who, have the in and the know-how and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, we have comments saying, well, name and shame. The issue is there's too many.
And
right?
we're not here for that, by
And
the way.
we're not here for that because we have seen some of these numbers with some of these different shops. Personally seen. Like,
come behind the counter,
Yeah.
look at what, because I was talking to Panda the other day about the Pokemon stuff, you know what I mean? And, he was showing me, he's like, dude, I cannot get Pokemon. And if I do want Pokemon, what is going to happen is I'm going to pay this price. I'm going to have to put it on the shelf for my profit, obviously. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, Google reviews, all this stuff. I'm a scalper, and I don't want to go through that. And that's basically why he's not selling Pokemon now.
Right. And there's some truth that you will find a distributor that'll sell you at the right price. But that's way more work than these shops should go into, right? You shouldn't have to shop around 50 different shops. I know a shop owner who's done that, who shopped around just multiple distributors until he finally found, the right one and selling the product at the right price. But even then, are you just going to give to the local mom and pop shop, or are you going to go to Billy Bob Thornton, who's purchasing $1 million worth of product?
Yeah, Tom Brady's card shop thing.
Yeah.
Like it's insane, but that's just reality. The bigger IP is a business. The distributors are now a business. Your local card shop is a business. Your rip and shippers is a business.
Yeah.
It sucks, and I'm not defending it, right? Like, understand, I'm not defending it. But it's the reality of the situation.
We are here for the collectors as much as we are here for the players.
Yeah.
You have every right to collect a card, right? You have every right to have a sealed collection.
Yeah.
You have every right to sell a card if you don't want it anymore.
Right.
But there's the thin line now to where it's like if you're making money off cards, people are instantly putting that word on it. And that's just not right. It's just not where it's supposed to be.
I personally don't think, though, that you should have the right to clean out an entire Costco
right
to where no one else could buy any because you're going to sell it for a profit.
Yeah, that happened to me. What was that, episode 3 or 4 or whatever?
Yeah.
Whenever I was at Sam's and they bought all the prismatic.
Yeah, that is the issue. Are people buying out these different stores, people that have the ins with these different card shops. And the sad truth is a lot of these card shops are doing that too. They're sending people out to different retailers.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like we know. Like, it does happen.
It's none of our shops. It's all the shops. Yeah, I can't say where
I know,
they are.
Yeah, I know a couple in Texas.
Texas, Florida.
California.
Yeah, they'll and a lot of these card shops, they'll open shops up next to the main area where the Walmarts and the Targets are, and they'll get there early and tell their employees, hey, you're standing in front of Target today. Here's the card, the business card. You're standing in front of Walmart today, and you're standing in front of GameStop today. And you will buy as much as you can, and then you're going to come put it on the shelves for whatever market is. The
question becomes, what's the solution for this? And the truth is, the solution is time.
Yeah.
It's going to burst.
I don't wish that, though.
Yeah.
As a collector myself,
right.
I am a player as much as I am a collector.
Right.
I do not want and I say the word investment, trust me, but at the end of the day, you are investing in yourself whenever you buy these cards, right? They are pieces of paper, okay? And you are spending your hard-earned money on them.
Yeah.
No matter how you use the pieces of paper, you still own the pieces of paper.
It's probably going to go more like the sneaker route, though, because the sneaker market, would you say it's burst?
I have no idea. I don't pay attention to it.
I follow it pretty closely, and the sneaker market is probably leveled out now.
Exactly.
Now you can find sneakers like even like some of the best collabs. They will only be like a $100 markup. Depends on how rare too,
Yeah.
But
and that's when I say burst in the card game market. That's what I mean. Is that it's going to level out to where you can finally start getting product at the stores again.
And it's like it goes back to like Magic the Gathering with the One Ring or like the Infinity Stones and the Spider-Man stuff and everything like that. I'm not a big fan of that type of stuff.
Right, but you
Because
look at the Spider-Man collection, that was kind of a flop.
It was, but that's just an example. They drop these cards with these impossible, or they drop these sets with these impossible cards to find, and so you have people, these celebrities, buying crates and crates of this product just so they can rip and try to find this one card. And it was like the thing with the Lord of the Rings stuff. All that stuff was super high up until somebody found the card, and then boom, went all the way down. And it was just like, that's the type of gimmicks that kind of make it weird.
Yeah.
And that's the type of that's when you're playing a lottery.
But at the
know
same
what I mean?
time, we see in Yu-Gi-Oh where they've pushed the collectors out, and that's hurt the card
Ultimately.
collectible market like altogether. That can happen to any card
This will
game.
probably be the 5th time I'm saying this on this podcast, that a card game cannot prosper unless the collectors and the players are at a medium.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You have Magic, which is majority player. It's going to stick around because it's player. Now they're doing the secret layer stuff, so the collectors and everything's coming back in. They're kind of growing more, but it was the same with Pokemon. Pokemon has a huge players base, but they also have a huge collectors base. They are in that medium. You like at NAIC, we go out there. We don't play Pokemon. We were having a good time though.
You know what Scalpers remind me of?
What's that?
They're the new modern day backpack vendors.
Yeah, dude. And
When's the last time you heard someone make fun of backpack vendors?
You don't
It's been a
anymore.
minute,
Yeah.
which is crazy because I remember just 4 years ago, you would make fun of the guy that would go to these events and buy and resell cards, but now they're almost like the cool guy.
Yeah, but also these events aren't having a lot of vendors anymore anyways, like that, and you kind of need people like that to do stuff.
It's like the formation of these card tournaments and these events and whatnot has really changed drastically.
What do you think, Brian?
So my interpretation of it is that for the most part, you're right. Like scalpers are definitely the people that are ripping and shipping, and you shouldn't call someone a scalper just because they're buying product just to hold. I have some product that I bought that I'm holding because of personal reasons. Like I want to have PRB2 in my collection, and then once it gets out of rotation, maybe I'll feel like ripping it open and seeing if I can get lucky again.
Or sell it to
or sell to somebody. Yeah,
buy another deck. Blah blah blah. It's like, or even to pay a light bill. It's something that you have chosen to do personally.
Yeah.
Did you damage the whole aspect of One Piece because you held some product sealed? No. You didn't.
Yeah, and like I also do that with Gundam model kits. I collect a lot of model kits, and like the joke is when you're a model kit builder, you have a backlog, and I have built plenty of model kits. I have a bunch of my backlog.
Yeah.
I just don't build them because I've invested my time in playing One Piece and trying to get better in One Piece and doing this stuff. And so my backlog is just sealed Gundam model kits that have appreciated in value because they're no longer making them anymore. Because for a while, Bandai only had one factory making model kits in Japan. Now they have 2 now, I think. But like, they only have the one, and like their molds are expensive to build, so they reuse a lot of molds, but like it's expensive to build a new mold every single time. So like I have a bunch of older molds of older kits, that have appreciated in value, and it's not like I have full intention of building them. Like I have I don't plan on reselling them.
But what if like in your hobby that there was like people, which I'm sure that there is.
There is.
Yeah. But like, say that like they drop the newest ones at GameStop or Target, like they do the cards, and people were just waiting in line to have them to go back into their car and start posting on eBay. That would hurt. And don't get me wrong, I do think that is a terrible thing to do.
Yeah,
It really is. I have gotten Pokemon Center exclusive ETBs. I have gotten Prismatic Evolutions, and I have ripped every single one of them. You know what I mean? Because I enjoy ripping the packs. Do I have a sealed ETB Pokemon Center? Yes, I do. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, it
I
does
think
look
it's a
cool.
rare item that I like having displayed in my room. I'm not a scalper because I'm not opening it. And I'm also not a scalper because I'm not opening it and building a deck and going to play in a tournament with it.
Yeah.
That's just not the right way to look at it.
You're only a scalper if you buy product with the intention of selling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I think that
And that
people,
doesn't mean you open a box of One Piece and you pull a manga and you sell your manga because it's $800 something. No, it's if you bought a box with the intention of selling that box.
Well, a lot of
for
people
reprint.
also go after the graders now too.
Oh,
Like-
well then that's me.
Me too. Me and Brian are sending a new submission off every other week.
But you like the way they look.
I love having a graded card.
They're my trophies.
We haven't sold a damn one yet.
Nope.
We still have them. It's just something that we like having. Mementos from different tournaments that we went to. I just got the Reshiram that I pulled from.
But if one of those cards 5 years in the future becomes 10 grand for whatever reason, you're
it.
selling.
Oh,
it.
100%.
I'm selling it.
It's sold.
Why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
It was fun to have.
To avoid a comment on TikTok, I'm selling it. And I might post the eBay sell on the story after we sell it. Congratulate me. Tell me I did a good job. Don't sit here and
But you're not
me.
doing it with the intention
No.
of
No.
making a profit. And that's the big difference is if you're wiping out stores, local stores with the intention of making a profit, pretty much being a reseller, just like how shoes are/were, you are a scalper. If you're going out, you're keeping a box sealed, and it just so happens to be $5,000 in the future, and you kept it sealed because you like the way it looked on your shelf, that does not make you
No, it doesn't.
scalper.
And dude, another thing too, if you're going in there, there's not a limit on packs that makes you a scalper. If you're going to buy 20 packs and rip them with your family, dude, do it. You know what I mean? Like now, if there's a huge line behind you and you're, funneling your cart,
Then
yes,
that's
you're
messed
a
up.
POS. Stop doing that. But it doesn't look, bro. The moral of the story is, man, the scalper word is like just being thrown out at people so crazy that they don't even know what they're talking about anymore. And it's just one of those things, man. But I that's enough on that. It is what it is. I think we had a really good episode today.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the conversations as
and let
always.
us know your opinions in the comments.
Yeah, let us know
please.
how you feel about it. We want more comments, obviously. So go ahead and let us know what's going on with that. And
You never know. We might your comment, just like how that email was an entire segment, your comment may be an entire segment.
For sure. All right, Alex, motivational words today.
Oh man, I got no motivation. I'll tell you what though, please, we said at the beginning, send us your emails at Pop.1, the number one podcast submissions at gmail.com. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear your topics, something funny, something cool, whatever. If you want us to read us on this podcast, send us.
All right, Brian, what you got, man?
Just because you hold on to product doesn't make you a scalper. Just enjoy your hobby as it is.
Yeah, you can be a collector.
Yeah.
That can be your hobby.
Yep.
So just do it, man. All right, guys. If you're new here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. It really does.
Follow us
you
on
guys
TikTok.
have been doing that. Follow us on TikTok. And check out Dueling Guard. Dueling Guard, your one-stop shop for your TCG accessories, baby. They got it all.
And check out Anchor Goods, your premium selection for protection for your leader.
Yep, it's all at the... Where's it at, Brian?
They're right there, right in front of you.
Wait,
Down below.
Down below. Oh. He's talking about, no, they're right there. The lead, yes. Hold on. Yes, we have the leader cases. They're right here. Just like Brian said. Go check them out. They're beautiful, man. This is the Nami one. Really good. And we'll have one of you, the ad at the beginning of the episode. It'll be one of you guys.
Yeah.
Which one will it be?
Let's not.
Who knows?
We'll know.
Tell us in the comments.
It's cool, man. But you guys be sure to check us out next week. We're here weekly, and it's going to be a good time. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.